Make sure you go to ashkicking.com and cop the new special edition DBN Senate candle for the Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev rematch.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So, man, it has been a very, very long week, but it was all worth it. It's always worth it when your prediction comes to fruition. Congratulations again to AKA Man Down the Truth, Errol Spence, getting an 11th round TKO over hashtag Chocolate Brownie, Kell Brook. You know, the first thing I need to say before I get into the boxing talk is I need to apologize to some of the people I interviewed, because you ain't gonna believe this shit, man. But when I went back to the airport in Manchester, England, because of the Manchester bombing and everything, they were real tight on security, and I almost missed my flight. They kept putting all of my stuff through the metal detectors or whatever over and over again. I was probably there for at least 45 to 50 minutes. I almost missed my flight. But the reason why I say all of this is because while they kept putting all my stuff through, because I had all this camera equipment and all this other stuff, they had put my laptop to the side. And while they put my laptop to the side, I was more focused on my camera equipment. So long story short, after dealing with this for almost an hour, and I'm telling them, look, man, you guys have to hurry up. I'm about to miss my flight. They finally give me my stuff, and I leave my damn laptop in Manchester, England at the airport. So I say all of this because half of the interviews that I did was on that computer. And so far, they're telling me that they haven't found it yet, which is obviously not good news. So that sucks. Now, outside of that, it was a great damn week, and I can't wait to go back to England. The fans showed me tremendous love. I had people out there offering me their home to stay at if I come back out there again, which I'm definitely going to take advantage of. So I really appreciate them. You know, the fans out there in the UK, they showed DBN a whole lot of love. So it was gravy. It was gravy. You know, everyone showed me love, but I have to say, out of everyone in the UK, it was the Middle Eastern, the Muslim fans that treated me like straight family. Like, they treated me like straight family. Now, once again, everybody showed me love, but it was just a little bit different with, once again, the Middle Eastern, you know, the Muslim fans. They just gave me a lot more love. It was a lot more genuine. So shouts out to them, man. Shouts out to them. But anyway, with that all being said, let's go ahead and get into some of this boxing talk. So shortly after Errol Spence dethroned Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, he went to his Instagram and he basically said, congratulations to Errol Spence, but if you want that real crown, you're gonna have to come see me. This is what Keith Thurman had to say after Errol Spence's win. This is a mega fight, guys. Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman. This is a mega fight. It's a mega fight that will end up in another knockout. Oh yeah, that fight will end up in a knockout. And if not a knockout, at least knockdowns and more swollen, busted eye sockets. I can guarantee you there's going to be some serious drama and fireworks in a fight like that. Now, when it comes to Keith Thurman, I've never said that I thought that Keith Thurman was afraid of Errol Spence. But I do feel that Keith Thurman, he respects Errol Spence enough to where he is waiting to put that fight to the side, not to the side, but he wants to build that fight up as long as he can, because he knows deep down that is going to be his most difficult fight. Keith Thurman, he understands this. Okay? So, Keith Thurman, I know Keith Thurman, he feels that he has to fight Errol Spence soon. to unify the belts. But I don't believe that Keith Thurman will fight Errol Spence soon as he comes back from his elbow injury, which he said he'll be back fighting by the end of the year. So that means it's not that bad of an injury. So we'll see, man. We'll see when Keith Thurman decides to take that tough challenge against Errol Spence. We already know Errol Spence, he wants Keith Thurman next. Errol Spence is a very, very special fighter, man. Keith Thurman is a special fighter, but not on the level of an Errol Spence. There are no welterweights that are on the level of an Errol Spence. But that fight right there, that reminds me of the Hearns versus Leonard's, the Hearns versus Hagler. This is that type of fight. This is that type of fight. If these fighters had their Hope insurance, this would be considered the biggest fight in probably 10, 15 years, they would be saying. But because we know what time it is, it's not going to get the reception it deserves, at least not from the decafs. But from the real boxing fans, that is exactly what this fight is. Hearns, Hagler, Hagler, Leonard, Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Hearns, all of that, man. All of those fights. That's what this fight is going to be. Just like Spence versus Kell Brook, it was full of drama, wasn't it? It was full of drama. Busted eye sockets, knockdowns, toe-to-toe action, right? We're going to see a lot more of that in the Keith Thurman fight. So I look forward to seeing what Keith Thurman decides to do. He has his mandatories. Sean Porter is one of his mandatories. Lamont Peterson is one of his mandatories. And then you have Errol Spence, which is his boogeyman. Once again, I'm not saying that Keith Thurman is afraid of him, but let's just keep it real. We know that Keith Thurman recently said in an interview with Brian Custer on Showtime, he recently said, when Brian asked him the question, Brian said, you know, if it was up to you, not talking about your promoters, if it was up to you personally, who do you want next? Keith Thurman, he said, I want Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and then he said, maybe I'll fight the winner of Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. So with that being said, we clearly know that Errol Spence, he wants this fight more than Keith Thurman wants it. Keith Thurman also said in that same interview, he said, you know, I'm looking for legacy. He said, I'm looking for legacy when I search for opponents. He said that's why he wants to fight people like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. But the only problem with him saying that is soon as Danny Garcia won the title, Keith Thurman was calling Danny Garcia out the first day Danny Garcia won the belt. So my question is, what's the difference from fighting Errol Spence? Now, once again, Keith Thurman just said Errol Spence has to come see him. Now, that can obviously be translated to Keith Thurman wanting to fight Errol Spence next. That's very possible. I hope that's possible. Boxing fans hope that's possible. But once again, we will see. We will see. That is a huge fight right there. That's a huge fight. Let's see what happens. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.